Raise your hands if you're here to be successful. Raise your hand again if you're here to be successful and have a great time. Fabulous. Thank you, Coach, for the feedback as always. So, welcome to this 10th anniversary of Waxtie. I'm so thrilled you guys could come. It's great to see friends new and friends old. And what I wanted to try and go through today is a bit of a reflection, really, of what happens over 10 years of running a business. Because I'm sure many of you realise that you have to have so many different hats that you wear, so many things that you do on a day-to-day basis, and so many things that you have to learn. And, you know, sometimes we kind of forget, actually, what some of these things are. And it's only that point where we reflect back and we can kind of look at them. We can see in sometimes what the journey was and where we're going to be going. So, for me, my journey started back in 2008, where if you'd been with me, you'd find me in the Sheepscar Annex of the Leeds Metropolitan University. This one. And the Sheepscar Annex of the Leeds University isn't a fantastic building. It's kind of a converted office, really, with its kind of office chairs in the middle and the office desks. But then round the edges, they've got these kind of like workshop-style desks. And across each of their desks, we've got a whole host of different pieces of equipment, because I'm back there studying again, going for a degree in computing. Now imagine that. I mean, I've been doing computing for how many years? I'm going back for a degree in computing? Anyway. And while I was there, sat down, everybody else, you've got kind of the hum of the machinery in the background, the flashing lights of all the equipment as they're going on, and that kind of smell of the ozone. You know, the kind of smell you get when you've got photocopiers around? That kind of metallic smell? Well, they've got loads of this in this room. And I was just sat there with the various other colleagues and students that are taking this computer studies course. I met the guy who was going to change my life going forwards. It was this gentleman, Andrew Mason. Now, Andrew Mason is a serial entrepreneur, to say the least. He's literally owned businesses, run businesses, managed businesses, and made his apologies that he couldn't be at this event today. And he was there in between ventures where he'd sold one. I was just looking for his next adventure of what he's going to go on to. And while he's here, he's thinking, well, actually, I can make some money being a tutor, teaching what I do, which is all around networks and network security. But he asked me a question. He says, Martin, why are you here? Well, that's simple, Andrew. I've just finished delivering a £1.5 billion hospital divestment, which Simon Hudson knows a lot about as well. He was there with me. And I kind of feel like I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, which is to become a consultant that helps other people with technology and makes things work. So I'm kind of thinking, what happens next? Where am I going to go? So that's why I'm here, to learn a little bit more. He says, no, Martin, you got me wrong. He says, why are you here doing a computing course? You quite clearly know all this stuff. You quite clearly are fantastic in what you do. So why are you here? Why are you out there doing this for yourself? Why aren't you out there making a difference in other people's lives? It took a while for this kind of sinking, at least maybe 3 or 4 seconds. And you know that kind of feeling you get at the back of your head when something just nags away at you and eats away at you? Well, I kind of got a word for that a little bit later on when John Oddie, who's here with us today as well, gave me a book. It was E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And within the first few chapters, he explains a thing called the entrepreneurial seizure. And I'm pretty sure in that moment is when I had mine, when I was thinking, he's right. I can do the do. My do's pretty good do. I bet I could do my do-do for somebody else. Not that kind of do-do. See, let them laugh, I know what you said. And I did. I thought, let's go out and set up my own business. So Proud as Punch went with me and Sarah. We're going to set up our own business. How do you do that? I've never run a business before. I've been a great IT consultant. But actually, where'd you start? What do you need? Who'd you get involved? So, you probably could guess what I did next. I did. The doo-doo. That came months after, plenty of doo-doo. But I kind of hit the books. I looked at the internet. What do you need to do to set up a business? What do you need to do to be able to establish yourself and make a name, make yourself credible? And I studied and I looked at what was going to go on. And I kind of came to conclusions. I needed at least two things. One was a damn good accountant, and the other one was a damn good solicitor. Apparently, all businesses need these things. Later on, I found out about things like sales and marketing. So I went to the Yorkshire Enterprise Show, which was in Millennium Square in Leeds. Now, if you've ever been to Millennium Square, it's kind of like this great outdoor area they've created, which is right in between the Leeds General Infirmary, what used to be the Leeds Theatre, and the Civic Hall. So there's a quite interesting space there. And inside this space, they put this giant-sized white marquee. Now, raise your hand if you've ever been to a business exhibition. Yeah? For those of you that haven't raised your hand, I will give you a little picture of what it's like. You kind of come into this kind of arena, which can only be described as chaotic. You have a mixture of people that are just there with tables and chairs, some there with banners, some there with pop-up banners, some there with these most elaborate stands you've ever seen in your life. And we walked down and we spoke to every single accountant and every single solicitor there. And I'll tell you one thing, most accountants are not the most interesting people to talk to. There's only so much tax law you can absorb in one day. There's only so many times you can be told about double entry bookkeeping. And just don't let me tell you about the number of risks and the reason why you shouldn't be setting up a business in this economy at this stage, and you don't know anything about running a business, do you? And this was the kind of approach we got with accountants. So as we're kind of dragging our heels towards the end of this event centre, we found a gentleman sat at his nice little table with his chair, and a nice A4 sign on the top of the chair, this table that said, John Oddy, accountant. You may recognise this gentleman. Give us a wave, John. Excellent. Now, John did not give me that kind of conversation with everybody else. He started the conversation with us, why do you want to be in business? And then followed up with a question of, so what are you going to actually do once you're in business? And then with, where are you going to find your clients from? And how are you going to make that work? And where's your cash flow going to be? This was completely fresh to me. This is great. These are the kind of questions I really needed. And you know what? I hired him. And it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. Over the last 10 years, John and I have run my business and several other ventures. Some of them worked, some of them not quite as worked. And he's kept me on the straight and narrow, and I must say thank you to that. And thank you also for the promise you made at the beginning, which was, he'll give me 3 answers to any question. Yeah? He tells you what you should do according to the law, what you can get away with, and what he would do. I'll let you all have that discussion with him later. So obviously that's half of my dynamic duo already in place. And the other person I need to find was a good solicitor. I'm not going to beat around the bush, and this was Azad Ali. And Azad's also with us today as well. So give us a big wave, Azad. And he didn't know I was going to do this. Neither did John, actually. Now, Azad, if you never actually met it, well, if anyone actually worked with solicitors before, raise your hand. Yeah? Not many of you. So my experience of solicitors up till 2008 was working with them in a corporate environment when it came down to contracts, contract negotiations, law, legal affairs, and HR. And I will tell you, they are the most axe-wielding, boring, just so irritating people. And the worst part about it is you can't pin them down to anything. It's like trying to pin jelly to the wall. It really is. Every time you try and get a clear answer, is it going to be X or is it going to be Y? They go for something different, which is over here. Which direction are you going? We've got a clients over here. But that's not the conversation I have with Azad. So with Azad, it was really clear. You know, I need these type of contracts put in place for these type of reasons. We need to review these type of things. Not only that, but have you ever had the experience when you're working with people and they never give you a very clear understanding of what the costs are going to be? Yeah? And that sounds very much like most solicitors, doesn't it? With Azad, that was never the case. You know, what you asked for is what you paid. As simple as that. Everything was up front. So it made it incredibly simple, incredibly easy to work with. So I do thank you for that. And as a bit of a side conversation, which many people probably don't know, I do mentoring with Leeds University Business Schools for a number of their students going through from their academic life into their working life. And on one occasion, there was a lovely guy called Daniel, and he'd never had an interview in his entire life. So this is a guy, 22 years old, about to leave university, and didn't know what he was going to do next. What made matters worse was he'd got an interview with KPMG in a month's time, and he's kind of thinking, how do I manage this? How am I going to sit down and have an interview? So I said, don't worry, Daniel. We can get this sorted. What I will do is I will get you an interview where we can sit down, we'll get you through a full formal process, you can get assessment, and you get feedback afterwards so you know what to do. So straight away I rang Azad. I said, Azad, got Daniel, this is what we're going to do about this. And I know they get the story wrong. I can already see the look on Cheryl's face, my coach. Oh, she's appalled already. So Azad says, can we give it an interview? I says, I don't mind paying for it. I says, but I need to get this done. And Azad says, yeah, no worries. And you don't even have to pay me for it. And you know what the best thing was? We went through that whole interview process with Daniel. He got some amazing feedback, not just from myself, not from Azad, but also from other people in his organisation. And he passed the interview with KPMG and got his management training role straight away afterwards. And I thought that was absolutely fantastic. So thanks again, Azad, for everything you've done for me and for others. So that was it. I had my dream team in place. I had me, I had Sarah, I had John, I had Azad. We were ready to take on the world. Yeah, so 2009 came and we started looking for the next thing we needed, which was customers. Yeah, because, you know, well, what's a business without customers? I think everyone needs those. Sometimes it might feel like we don't want them because of the problems sometimes they bring, but we've got to remember, our whole reason for existing is to take away the problems of others. Yes, no? Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very thankful to have customer number one, who was Simon Hudson and his business partner, Taryn, who set up a venture called Cloud2. Now, Simon and Taryn had only just set up in business about 9 months before we did. And were very busy beavering away in the healthcare industry at that point in time, making a great difference in making sure they could use their information more wisely and collaborate more completely. And this was fantastic because we got my first customer. Not only that, but we kept expanding, asking other people, and found customer number 2. And this was Bliss Systems for Dr. Dan Donnelly. Now, Sarah knows Dan from university, but it's really important to mention him because he also kind of gave us a home. We were able to share his office for the first few years, and he really gave us a lot of help in establishing our business. Which was kind of nice, given the fact that I gave him a lot of help about 3 years earlier setting up his business, right? But, you know, what goes around comes around, and having this kind of respect and ability to be able to work together is one of the key things that I find makes businesses work and work well together. So it was about that time that we incorporated. Yay! We were born 2009, 10th of July. We got birth certificate and everything. Oh no, certificate of incorporation, similar thing. Well, the problem was, I was still working for the firm. So I was still working for a really good company, IOCO, and I still admire them today because they gave me so many different opportunities. But I kind of got to the point now where I felt like I'd outgrown them and I needed to move on. So as 2009 waned, so I had a very, very long earn-out piece, we came to 2010 and we were there. Waxtie was established. We're in the marketplace and we're already working with our first couple of clients. Now, I didn't waste the time over 2009 thinking, actually, I can just sit back and relax. I spent that time lining up new clients, new pieces of work, all those kind of people I've been working with already over the previous years. But as 2010 came, does anybody remember what happened just roughly about that time? There's a few nodding heads, a few spiralling fingers. You're right, it was the actual credit crunch piece. So we know the actual thing happened in 2008, but the reality is it really hit businesses about 2010. And as I'm sat in January 2010, all that pipeline of work that I had set up just dwindled away to nothing. Phone call after phone call. Sorry, Martin. Been told to tighten the budgets we have. That project's not going to go ahead for at least another 12 months. So here I am, 2010, fresh in a new business. Family to support, 3 kids, 3 dogs, missus, house, usual things. No income coming in. And I can't make this work. But how do you make it work? I thought I'd got my dream team together, but that kind of wasn't working. I got a website, that was there. That's all you need, isn't it? Yeah. That really didn't make it work. It was kind of about this time that I remember the wise words of a friend of mine, Darren Turner, who Simon knows very, very well as well, because we actually used to work together in the same firm for about 5 years in the medical side of things. And on leaving the firm, he said to me, he says, Martin, you know you've been put on a stage, right? All this time you've been working here, you've been put on a stage so that you can do what you do best. That means you don't have to worry about all those other things. You don't have to worry about the HR, the sales, the marketing. You don't have to worry about the compliance. You don't have to worry about the finances. You don't have to worry about anything. All you have to worry about is making sure that client feels fantastic. And I was really good at that. But now I had to get to be good at those other bits. I had to learn how to wear all those different hats. And I started by just picking up the phone and ringing somebody. And I just rung. And I rung everybody I knew. You know, I'm available. I've got these set of skill sets. What can I do for you? And the work started to come in. And what started off as a trickle soon became a bit of a torrent. And we started to grow our business. And our business expanded quite rapidly within the first few years. And by 2014, I kind of realized that actually I'd learned a lot, not just about how we run businesses, but actually how we could deal with major transformations inside organizations. So that today, not only do I do the consulting, I also help teach. Oh, sorry, reverse bit. I also got asked to write for the British Computer Society on their book on digital leadership, which went out to every company around the world as a free publication to all CTOs. There was about 4,000 people. I then, in 2016, wrote my own award-winning book on digital transformation, which also became a bestseller in the Amazon category of leadership. And also, I got awarded as an international speaker as well in 2017. So today, I spend my time teaching leaders as well how they can deal with large-scale transformations in their organization, specifically around digital technology. I also teach small businesses how they can grow and expand in their small business ideas. Because, you know, I'm nothing special. But those skills that I've learned over the last 25 years are. So we're here today to celebrate 10 years of living, learning, laughing, and just having fun along the journey. Some days you might find it's hard to smile. Some days you might feel like you want to cry, scream, shout, murder somebody. No, maybe not murder somebody. But I'll tell you one thing, the last 10 years have been the best adventure of my entire life. So tonight I would like you to live a little, laugh a lot, learn a little, and just have some great fun. And with that, I'm going to hand you over to Ruth and Andrea, who will be emceeing for the evening. And here on the channel, we're looking at how we can share a whole variety of tips, hints, sound bites, and extras of things that we have found we use on a weekly, daily, even hourly basis. So click the subscribe button now so you don't miss out.